To the beginning of the Bridgewater's Finest Movie Awards for 2017. We're going to waste no time. We're going to get right into our Miscellaneous Awards section, and this is where we have some classic awards, that nobody else gives. We're the only ones on the internet that gives awards like these. That's a fact. All right, so we're going to get into our Miscellaneous Movie Awards, and the first one that we're going to start with, this year we kind of endeavored to add to this section. So, in addition to, I can't believe I loved this movie, I can't believe I hated this movie, I expected more from these three movies, I expected less from these three movies, we also added what we dubbed a serious extra award and kind of a jokey style award. So we added to the wonderfulness that is the Miscellaneous Movie Awards. So where we're going to start is we're going to start with each of our quote-unquote, as Lance Storm would say, if I can be serious for a minute, we're going to start with our serious award that we've added for this year.
All right, so my first serious award is the best character of 2017. Now, it has to be a character that originated this year, at least on film. It could have been from a comic book or whatever that was before 2017, but it had to be their first appearance this year. So my pick is played by David Lynch in the movie Lucky, and his name is Howard. Now, what I love about Howard is he's a minor character, and he's lost his tortoise. Like, his tortoise ran away. And you only see him a few times throughout the movie, but he kind of offers these profound statements on the tortoise and his relationship with the tortoise. Like, I wish I had the full quote, but there's like a part in the movie, I think it's near the end, where he's talking about his tortoise named President Roosevelt. I forgot that part.
Okay.
And he talks about how the tree by Lucky's house was just a twig when Roosevelt was born and how they were contemporaries. They've watched each other grow. Then he goes on to say something like, Roosevelt was born in a hole in a desert, and then something clicked in his brain and he crawled out of that hole and faced the world. Which already, it's kind of like, all right.
Interesting.
Then he talks about how people think tortoises are slow, but people don't realize the burden that a tortoise carries on its back. I mean, ultimately the shell is for protection, but ultimately it's a coffin that he's going to get buried in, and he has to drag it around all his life.
Wow. Then
he says how Roosevelt affected him, and that there are some things in the universe that are bigger than us all, and a tortoise is one of them. And, okay. And this is the part that really got me, was he's talking about how how the whole movie he's been trying to find this tortoise. So he's been thinking about why this tortoise left him. And he's like, and I even felt guilty at one point because I realized that the tortoise, there was something in his brain that he felt was important, and he went out to do it, and that David Lynch's character was standing in the way of that. Like, the tortoise left for some reason, whatever he deemed important. So what I like about Howard is pretty deep thoughts in relation to a tortoise. And I don't know, like the tortoise affected him. Those statements affected me partially because I became a bunny owner, and I can relate to certain things. And I don't know, he wasn't my original pick.
Right. My
original pick was Korg from Thor Ragnarok, who I won't talk about, but just because he's funny.
Wow.
That was originally my character, but then I watched Lucky, and I'm just like, I'm gonna give it to Howard.
All right.
Because I like when people put interesting spins on things. Like, they say stuff that's kind of like, I never thought of it that way. Oh. So, that was kind of a long spiel.
And that's played by David Lynch?
Yeah, Howard is David Lynch.
That's because that is way off the board of where I thought you were going to go. Big time. I thought you were going to go X-23.
Oh.
Daphne Keane. That's where I thought you were going. That's where I thought you were going for sure. So I specifically did not pick that because I was like, that's who Tyler's going to pick. So I'm going to go someplace different.
Go ahead.
No, but like the one that I picked is great, and I look, but I was like slam dunk. He's going to go X-23.
See, I thought you were going to think I was going to say Korg from Thor because I literally came out of that movie and been like, I think he's the best character.
Right,
and
true.
He was until I saw Lucky like 2 weeks ago or a week ago or something. I was like, I'm giving it to him. I'm giving it to him, even though I love Korg. He's so great. I hope he's in future Marvel movies.
He's pretty excellent. All right, so right away, Tyler's gone off the board from where I thought he was going to go. That means good things for the awards moving forward. My winner for this same award, the best debut character of 2017, goes to Kevin Wendell Crumb, who is played by James McAvoy in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split. And the reason that I went with Kevin Wendell Crumb, sort of over like Daphne Keane, who I thought you were going to go with, is it's one character that is 24 characters. So, it's if you don't know about Split is the M. Night Shyamalan kind of suspense thriller with some horror elements in it too, of this one character, Kevin, who suffers from, I believe it's dissociative identity disorder.
I can't remember.
So he basically has 23 distinct personalities sort of within himself, and it's a logged medical disorder. And throughout the course of the film, the 24th personality, only referred to as the Beast, which is an excellent name for a personality, a persona, what have you. And that's the crux of the thriller elements in the movie. He abducts these girls, or he doesn't, but one of his people does. I can't remember what the little boy's name is. I feel like it was like Henry or something, but I don't think it was. But he kind of is sort of the primary person that they kind of communicate with throughout. And you only see like 5 or 6 different personalities in the movie. It's marketed as, Kevin's got 23 personalities in him or whatever. So you only really see like 5 or 6 in the movie. But if you actually get it's either the director's cut DVD or it's a director's cut that was put out some way, in the bonus features of that, you see that not only did M. Night Shyamalan write out these 23 distinct personalities, James McAvoy filmed material of each one of these 23 different personalities. And you kind of see in the movie on a computer screen, like they have, there's these little promos, basically, of each one. And he actually filmed them out, fleshed out, I suppose I should say, 23 different unique personalities, all within kind of this one character. And for a writer to map that out and map them out well, and for an actor to perform them very well, I was just like, this character it's probably cheating. It's this character / characters. I was like, this is the most kind of unique thing that I've seen all year. And that character, of course, returns not this year, but next year in 2019's Glass, which is M. Night Shyamalan's follow-up to this, because I guess it's not a spoiler anymore because the movie's been out for 9 months. Yeah. It turns out that Split is a sequel to Unbreakable. Kevin Wendell Crumb, played by James McAvoy, is my winner for Best Debut Character of 2017.
It's actually a fleshed-out villain.
Yeah.
You never see.
Yeah, very much.
Because, they never dedicate a whole fucking movie to a villain. Like, as much as I love the Marvel movies and stuff, the main criticism of them has been, kind of bad villains for the most part. And DC movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a genre thing.
Yeah, that's a genre thing.
For sure.
But this, we legitimately have a great character.
Yeah.
It's been fleshed out. So the main players in this universe are all fleshed out, which is cool, and that's an awesome pick. I didn't actually expect you to pick him. I know we both liked that character. I didn't think he would win, but that's a good pick.
Booyah. Now moving on to my Serious Award. The Serious Award that I chose, to give this year was for the worst film or film industry argument of 2017. And basically what this is like, look, people talk about movies on the internet incessantly 24 hours a day. And there's little pockets, or sometimes larger pockets, of the film watching and film debating and film arguing communities on the internet that just come up with some howitzers. Like, just some crazy, ridiculous arguments. And this is the award for the worst of them. So my winner for the worst film industry argument of 2017 are the race-baiting arguments over the Scarlett Johansson casting in Ghost in the Shell. And this is the award where I get to get ranty. And like you said before we started recording, you're like, I love when you get ranty. Well, this is my rant award because, like, from the second that these awards in the community, or these awards, that this argument in the community started to surface, I was like, this is ridiculous. Even the internet is above this stupid, stupid argument. And this is why it's a stupid argument. First of all, a little bit of background. Scarlett Johansson, who, spoilers, is a white woman, was cast...
What?
Yeah, I know. Was cast as the main character in Ghost in the Shell, who goes by the name of Major. Major is a cyborg who is imbibed with a human brain rather than, computer AI. Because even as far as computer AI has come, it can't replace a human brain. So she's been imbibed with a human brain. Her actual memories of who she actually was as a person have kind of been erased, and this whole different persona and backstory has been kind of implanted over it. There's a name for the procedure in the movie. I can't remember exactly what it was. Later on in the movie, she's revealed to have been Motoko Kusanagi, who was a Japanese girl. And again, this is why this argument is stupid. Major is a cyborg. Cyborgs inherently do not have a human race, a human-identified race, whether it's Caucasian, Asian, African, American, whatever. Cyborgs are not. Cyborgs, you can argue that cyborgs are a race in and of themselves. That's an argument that you can make, and I think it's actually a fairly logical one. But you can't, I guess you can, because people have, but you shouldn't, try to impart human racial definitions to a cyborg, because a cyborg does not have a human race. And even in the anime, in the manga, if you look at Major just visually, she looks like she's white-skinned. But that argument doesn't matter because she's a cyborg, and cyborgs don't have a human race. This argument got so ridiculous that at one point the filmmakers were trying to use CGI to try to make Scarlett Johansson look more Asian. And that was a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
Because doing that gives credence to the argument, right? It gives that argument legitimacy when it shouldn't, because it was never a legitimate argument to begin with. Only two more things that I'm going to say about this, and then we'll get Tyler's reaction, and then we'll get Tyler's winner for this award. I hope it's as ranty.
It's not nearly as
Not nearly, damn. One is, you know who doesn't look at this as a controversy? Japanese moviegoers.
That's what I was just thinking, but I couldn't fact check because I didn't want to be on my phone.
No, legitimately, most Japanese film goers, when they heard about this controversy, they're like, why is this a controversy? And I kind of want to read it's not a quote, it's a paraphrase. I'm doing that thing that no researcher should ever do, which is paraphrasing Wikipedia. Quote, "The appearance of the protagonist is immaterial due to the franchise's themes of self-identity and blurring of artificial and natural bodies." Japanese filmgoers are saying this is immaterial, it does not matter, and they would be the ones that, if anyone, should be offended by it. The people that are offended by it are Japanese Americans. People that aren't native Japanese, well, they're native Japanese, but they're not living there anymore. It's the Japanese Americans, once they've kind of been exposed to the Western, quote-unquote, social justice warrior kind of thing, where it's just like everything is offensive to somebody. And this became, the only reason that this is an issue is because of people that are like kind of looking for something to sort of be offended by. And the only other point that I want to make is Ghost in the Shell does not get made with the same budget and look the same if Scarlett Johansson is not the lead character. So race baiting over the Scarlett Johansson casting in Ghost in the Shell is my winner for the worst film industry argument of 2017.
There's not as many bankable Asian stars, and that's a problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that is an issue. But you're right, it wouldn't have gotten made. Now, to a lot of people, that would have been a good thing, because a lot of people didn't like the movie. But it wouldn't have gotten made. And Scarlett Johansson has proved herself as a good action star and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're totally right. I don't really disagree with anything you said in your argument.
Perfect.
I didn't see that one coming. I completely forgot about that.
Come at me, social justice warriors.
All right. Now, mine isn't nearly as good because we don't know each other's picks for stuff, and
that's true.
And since this was his idea, he had an argument already in mind, and I don't actually pay as much attention as he does to people arguing about movies. Like I watch.
That's good.
I watch a couple YouTube channels, and pretty much all opinions are theirs, and they're just talking amongst themselves. So I don't always get an idea of like the bigger picture of what people are arguing, unless it becomes a huge deal. But whatever.
Right.
So mine isn't so much an argument between people in groups of people as it is just a general sentiment that artists have had forever. So this is not just a 2017 argument, but it was made in 2017 again by a person I really respect, that I really like. He's actually was the actor for one of my favorite TV characters of all time. But my award goes to Idris Elba's negative review, his reaction to the negative reviews of The Dark Tower. Now, I'm not going to talk about the quality of The Dark Tower. I just want to read his quote, and then talk about it, obviously. Ultimately, everyone has an opinion, and that's okay. Until one of the reviewers that has something to say adapts it and does a great job, well, I don't want to hear what they have to say. Okay, so I find this is a common artist reaction, and I can understand the sentiment behind it. It's like, well, we made stuff. Are you making shit? No, fuck off. But it's so flawed because it's like you can't know movies or know anything without making them.
Right.
Like, obviously, when you make something, and he knows more about the filmmaking process than I do. Like, that's not a debate.
He was in like 48 movies this year.
Yeah. But this idea that like that you have to make something in order to criticize it, it's just so flawed. Mm-hmm. And it irritates me, because we're sitting here criticizing stuff, but it's just silly. Like, I don't even really know what else to say, because it's... But here's the thing. I don't want artists to apologize or care about reaction. Like, I'm not expecting him to be like, oh, we made a bad movie, if that's what you think, I'm sorry, guys. I don't expect that. I just think he could have been like, it doesn't really matter to me. I kind of like this movie that we made, or whatever. That's fine. But to say
I thought the movie was just be like, hey, I was in the movie. I thought the movie was really good.
Yeah, like we pay money to see the movie, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of shitty criticisms that people make about anything.
True.
And people that don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying I'm above them, but I'm just saying that
he's above
them. But it just seems counterproductive and elitist to come out and be like, if you don't make it, then you can't say anything. It's like, well, I guess we're not talking about movies.
Yeah.
The awards are over. See ya.
Done deal. Exactly. It's like, well, we don't make movies, so I guess we're not allowed to talk about them.
Yeah. Like, there are worse arguments this year, maybe, or whatever, but...
Or, we don't like movies, so we're only allowed to like everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. We can't dislike a movie. Like, every movie is good because we don't make them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, that's shitty. And like you say, it's not exclusive to 2017, but it's definitely been made this year.
No, like, he's above it. Like, he's such a good actor and cool, seems like a cool dude and stuff, and like, I got no issue with him. I like seeing him and stuff. It's just that reaction was like, come on, man.
Good actors can have crummy opinions.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's mine.
Now that we've gotten our rants out of the way, let's try to make you chuckle a little bit. We're going to get into our quote-unquote jokey awards. Now look, I mean, these are still awards that we're given. It's still awards that we believe in, but it's a little tongue-in-cheek at the same time. So my jokey award, which again, we don't have sort of choices for each other's jokey because we don't know what they are. This is the one that we told each other what they were going to be originally, but he doesn't remember what I said for mine, and he changed his, so I have no idea what it is.
The game up.
Exactly. So we're keeping each other on our toes here. So my Jokey Award is the most nostalgia made this bad movie good movie of 2017. So this is what I think is probably a bad movie that I actually gave a pretty decent rating to just because it tickled my nostalgia taint. So, my winner, and the only winner, since obviously it wouldn't be very fair, although, hey, you could throw one in if you happen to think of one off the top of your head, but my winner for most nostalgia made this bad movie good movie of 2017 is Saban's Power Rangers.
Ooh.
Power Rangers, the Power Rangers that came out this year, is a bad movie. It's not a good movie at all. And when I came out of that movie, I gave it a 70 because I was like, dude, Power Rangers on the screen. And look, the Power Rangers show is not good.
No, it was shit.
The TV show is not good. But the TV show is great because it's campy and stupid. Why do their chests explode for no reason? You don't know, but you don't care because it's Power Rangers and it was a product of the time. And it was like, okay, like, you know that Japanese game show, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge?
Yeah.
The only reason that that's funny is that it's dubbed over and it's not at all what the actual Japanese, the Takeshi's Castle or whatever it was. It's not at all what that show is, but it's funny and it's great even though it's stupid. Power Rangers, the TV series, is kind of the same thing. It's great, but it's dumb at the same time. One of the best parts of the TV show, and I see you frantically looking something up, but one of the best parts of the TV show is that the TV show, and this is the only time I'm going to be talking about Power Rangers in this video, the TV show is campy as hell, and it's fun, and the fight scenes are good, everything like that. And the movie version loses almost all of that. It's not campy. It's not really all that fun. It's full of kind of the postmodernist humor, and like just the only way it's got to be relatable, so it's got to be modern, and that takes away the interest from the characters that are not as fun, the situations that are not as fun, the fight scenes are no fun at all in that movie. And yet at the same time, I came out of the movie just being like, oh, I remember Power Rangers, and I gave it a 70. So like it's just not a good movie. It was enough that I watched it and I was like, this is not a good movie, but you're gonna get a pass because it's nostalgia driven and I really like Power Rangers. So my winner for most nostalgia made this bad movie good movie of 2017 is Saban's Power Rangers.
I gave it a 75, which is a little different than your rating scale because your rating scale is stupid. But
my rating scale
is a little different. Like a 75 would mean something a lot different for him than it does for me. But on my scale, it's actually like a good movie. I disagree with you.
Okay.
I don't think it's like a great movie.
I think this is like our first flat-up disagreement of the year, maybe entirely, except for 50 Shades of Grey.
The fight scenes suck. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah,
the actual Power Ranger, like when they're in suits and all that shit, isn't great. But why I liked it was I thought it was a surprisingly effective like teen drama movie.
Yeah.
Like I cared, which is not what I expected because I was just like, fuck it, I'll watch Power Rangers. It probably sucks. Right. And I watched it, I'm like, why do I care? Like, this is a better teen drama than a lot of movies. Now, if the Power Ranger part of it sucked, but like that's where I disagree with you. Where I actually think like the darker aspect of it, that it really went into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Was actually it made it a good movie. So I don't agree that nostalgia made it good. I loved Power Rangers as a kid. I watched scenes of it just for fun after I saw this movie. I was like, what garbage.
Right.
Because, like, I'm not young, right? When I was young, I loved it. I watched it every morning.
Oh,
like,
if I was 16, right? I'd have been all over this movie.
But now, like, I watch it and I go, it's campy, but and campy's good sometimes, but I think it might go a little too far sometimes. Right. But nostalgia, it's like, oh, look at it. All right, that's an interesting pick. Yeah. That's what makes these fun when you disagree, although we're so fucking civil with each other.
It's true.
Anyway. So here's my... not serious award, although I'm actually completely serious.
Yeah.
And if you know me at all, which you don't, but if you know me at all, you will know this to be true.
Get to know them. Internet superstars.
Okay, so let's start this off. Let's have a little chat.
Okay.
I have a bunny, right? I got a bunny last year, okay? His name is Castle. I'm hoping this becomes a tradition, honestly. I'm not even joking. Okay. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But anyway. So my joke award is... the Castle Award 2017 for the best bunny of 2017. Representing the best of bun buns in film. And I want this to be every year. So I thought of this joke, and this joke award, and I thought, I don't have a good bun, but fuck it, I'll just give it to Castle. Right? Because who cares? I'll break the award, I'll give it to a rabbit that's not even in movies. Right? But then I thought of something. I thought, there's a bunny in The Zookeeper's Wife.
There is.
And I actually became a little proud of myself, because I thought, that's a really good pick. Because, and I'm not going to hammer on about The Zookeeper's Wife or anything, but specifically the bunny, remember, this bunny gets introduced to a little girl who's shook up because some bad shit's going on.
Some bad stuff happened.
Some bad Nazi stuff.
It was sometime around the late 30s, early 40s in Poland.
Yeah, some bad stuff was going on. So this child is like upset, doesn't want to talk to anyone, distancing herself, right? And then the main character, it was the main character, gave her, the zookeeper's wife, as it may be, gave her a little bunny.
My wife, Jessica Chastain.
His wife. Gave her a little bunny. And I mean, it's cute as hell. Like, let's just call it spade a spade. But what's great about this bunny is that it's actually legitimately important to this character, like to the character arc of this little girl.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately important. Just like my bunny is important to my character arc, this bunny is important to hers. And what's great is it's not just in one scene. Like, it's in multiple. It's like at the end, I think, isn't it? When they're like doing some stuff, I won't ruin it, but it's like it shows up at the end. Yeah, they're not calling attention to it, like, here, we got a bunny. But it's still like, here's the bunny. And they might call attention.
Some Nazi killing stuff that's happening at the end of the movie. Yeah,
there's some arguably more important stuff going on. But anyway, that's my pick. The best bunny of 2017 is whatever its name is.
That's genius.
It's from The Zookeeper's Wife.
It's kind of genius, though. Like, it really, really is. Wow. I should have known. Like, I should have known.
He of all people, like, you don't know, because you have not seen my love for my buddy.
All right, folks, moving on. We're now going to go to, again, we're getting into the classic ones that we've given now multiple times over the years. The first of which is going to be, I Can't Believe I Loved This Movie. And this is kind of the movie that I guess took us by surprise the most in a positive way, and we're going to turn that on its head in the award that we give afterwards. But I can't believe I loved this movie.
So the movie that I can't believe I loved is It.
Nice.
Because, like, I didn't even really know if I was going to see it. People are like, oh, I can't wait for it, I can't wait for it. And then, admittedly, the trailers looked good. And I was like, that's probably pretty good, but I'm not...
It's true.
Like, I watch horror movies. I don't absolutely love the genre as a whole. Like, I'm a film guy, so I like movies of most genres. But there's obviously the ones you don't prefer, right? And horror's one of them.
And how many times have you seen a trailer for a horror movie and go, man, that trailer looks really good, and then you watch the movie and you're like, this
And there's, like, realistically, there's only about ever, like, 3 horror movies a year that I like. And there's usually 1 or 2 that I love, and this year, it was It. Like, I didn't even have plans to see it. I remember you texted me, you were like, so what are your plans for It? I'm like, I got none.
That's true.
Let's go. And I'm like, I guess.
And those are the kind of messages, like, we'll message each other and go, like, so what are your plans for this movie? Because we make movie-specific plans.
Yeah, so... I mean, I don't want to talk too much about It as a movie, because that's not what this award is for. I'm just saying it's a horror movie, so it had that kind of working against it. I'm not in love with It because I never actually watched the original TV movie or read the book. So I had no real reason to love it, and I watched it, and I was like, I love it.
Director we've never really seen before.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is.
Andres Muschietti, I think.
I might have seen something by him. But I'd have to look, and I'm
Andy Muschietti. That's who we're going to call Andy Muschietti. That's a really good pick.
Man.
And that was actually one that I considered for the award quite a bit. I'm glad we didn't give it to the same one. Although, if I'm being honest, it's kind of cool when we give the same
you get that
movie
moment
the same award.
Like,
you're like, oh shit! Yeah, absolutely. So, but no, I gave heavy consideration to it.
But what's yours, Justin?
My winner for I Can't Believe I Loved This Movie in 2017 is Coco.
Oh, shit.
And it's like, I mean, look, it's Disney Pixar, and Disney Pixar, despite, like, when Disney Pixar is good, Disney Pixar is great. But then there's some times that, they make movies like Moana didn't really hit for me. I don't know whether that was Pixar or not, but it was certainly Disney. But I'm a firm believer that the best animated movies, and I think you are as well, the best animated movies are the ones that have, obviously, the content for the kids, that's where they're going to make their money, but they also have content where adults can sit back and be like, this is actually a really good movie. Like Zootopia, this is a kids movie about racism. And so I mean, like there's, or like Kubo and the Two Strings. There's content there that the kids are gonna love, and there's content that the adults are gonna love. And the best animated movies, I think, have both. But you can only kind of catch lightning in a bottle so many times, apparently, unless you're Disney Pixar. So I'm thinking, like, I'm kind of going into this movie and I'm being like, if I relatively enjoy this, I'll be content. And how many times did you cry? Because I can tell you, I cried more than once.
A few, yeah.
And I did not, I just didn't expect what I got. And this is another one, like on your Bunny Award, where I should have known better. Because, the backdrop of the Mexican Dias de la Muerta, I should have known that, this is, if nothing else, this is going to get me on an aesthetic level.
Yeah.
Because holy crap, what a great idea. The movie that took me the most by surprise this year by just how much I adored it. So my winner for I Can't Believe I Loved This Movie is Coco.
So you expected to think it was okay, or
I expected, what I hoped for was, I was like, if this movie's passable, if this movie's Moana, where I was like, this is fine. If I got that, I'd be content. But I can't believe the amount to which I adored this movie. And there's a small list of animated movies from the last 7 or 8 years that I will buy the Blu-ray and it will be in my kids' movie library.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the inverse of that, which is I Can't Believe I Hated This Movie. And it's the exact opposite. It's a movie that you went into and took you the most by surprise by just how terrible you thought it was. So I'll kick things off this time, and the movie that I can't believe I hated, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
I should have seen that coming.
Yeah, you probably should have.
I should have known.
And here's the reason that this gets this for me, is because this movie had checked off so many boxes for sci-fi movie that I would at least like, right? It checked off so many boxes. I like Luc Besson. Luc Besson's been hit and miss, but visually speaking, Luc Besson knows how to do it. And he even kind of did it in this movie. This movie certainly doesn't look terrible.
No, it looks good.
It looks fine. But it's a sci-fi property that's new to film, based off of a graphic novel that, while it was basically only French for a long time, it's acclaimed. This the Valerian and Laureline graphic novel in France is acclaimed, has won awards, and I mean, it's new to me. I've never read it before, right? The CGI looked decent. The marketing looked great. It had a really good trailer.
Yeah, the trailer was great.
And the really exciting trailer moment that then the movie proceeds to do absolutely nothing with.
Yeah.
And so it's
Speak on it!
Exactly. And the movie was no fun. The movie was just not fun. From frame one, the movie's no fun. And it has all these interesting elements that it does absolutely nothing with. And I'm sitting here oh my god, all of these things that checked off these boxes are, aside from the CGI, which mostly holds itself together for the whole movie, it's just all of these things that I was excited for and I expected to be good are just all showing up as wolves in sheep's clothing. None of this is good. I think when you roll your eyes more than you nod your head in approval, that's usually a pretty bad sign. So the movie that I can't believe I hated this year, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Poops.
I think we both had hoped for a really good movie, a sci-fi. We both love sci-fi.
Yeah.
Right. So it's probably, I would say it's one. Collectively, it's one of our favorite genres. I think you and I are both oh yeah, we're down for a sci-fi movie. I was disappointed with it. I don't have the same amount of hatred for it as you, but I was disappointed. I came out being man, the movie that I can't believe I hated is a cheater pick, and this is the first time
Ooh,
a cheater,
cheaters!
first time a cheater comes up. Basically,
Cheaters!
so basically, a cheater is a movie from like last year, or even another year if if it only got like maybe a few film festival releases or whatever. Like the way I do it is like if like Rotten Tomatoes listed the 2017, or if I see like critics are reviewing it this year, then I kind of even though IMDb has it listed as 2016, I'll look at the film festivals and stuff. If it's not too outrageous, then I will count it. That's how I do cheaters. I'm sure you're pretty similar.
I am. My major criteria is, did it get a major theatrical release this year? Then it's a movie from this year.
Yeah, so like this, it's a cheater. Some people will be like, that's a 2016. But anyway, whatever. I'm counting it as a 2017. So mine is Salt and Fire, which I'm going to try to keep this really short because it's not my problems with the movie, because this one will probably come up later too. The main reason I can't believe
Every time you say that, I'm just going to stroke my beard. Sorry. Go ahead.
The main reason I can't believe I hated it, and the only one that matters right now, is that it's a Werner Herzog movie, and I literally have never hated a Herzog movie. Now, he's past his prime. He has, and I haven't watched every movie he's released by any means, because he has a huge filmography, but I've never hated a movie. And this is just legitimately bad, and I'm watching it being like, this is Herzog? What? It has Michael Shannon in it, and it's like, what is going on?
Exactly.
I won't go into
We like Michael Shannon.
Yeah, I love Michael Shannon.
Tyler hates Herzog.
I hate Herzog.
# Tyler hates Herzog.
One of the great directors of all time, and I hate him.
Get that trending on Twitter. See, I wish I could say anything because I haven't actually seen that movie.
You don't
but
need to.
when you said that too. But yeah, I think when you talked to me very briefly about that movie, and you're like, it's a Herzog movie, that immediately clicks into my brain. I'm like, okay, he liked it because it's a Herzog movie, and then you're like, this is a fucking piece of shit. I was like, wait a second. The next award that we're going to be giving out is we're going to move into the 3 movies that we expected more from in 2017. This is not even necessarily movies that we hated or even disliked, but they're just movies that we went in with the expectation of, and we got somewhere in this area.
So we're going to list all 3 of ours and then just talk about them. We're not going to go back and forth.
Right.
So here are my 3. I even put them in order. So in order: Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And then It Comes at Night. And then Raw. Now, because it's I expected more, I'm only talking about kind of what I expected.
Yeah.
So, The Last Jedi. I don't think The Force Awakens was an amazing movie. Like, I thought maybe at the time it was, but I was kind of caught up in, like, the excitement of it. Because literally it was such a great theater experience. I had never really seen anything that level of excitement, because I'm like a pretty new Star Wars fan.
Yeah, you are.
So, like, I hadn't really experienced it. And The Force Awakens had this aura about it in the theater, right?
Oh,
and this had maybe less so, but like I heard great things about it. Like the early impressions of the movie before the controversy started happening, it was like, this is maybe the best one and best one since Empire. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And it was Rian Johnson, who makes great movies. That's why I expected more, and I didn't hate the movie by any means. I just expected maybe like a 90 or an 85 out of 100, and I didn't get that. So that's that. It Comes at Night.
Featuring your boyfriend, Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, featuring my boyfriend, who's a great actor, picks interest in movies. This was another one where it was really coming up in those like underrated, overlooked movies that you should watch.
His first pick, by the way, features my boyfriend, Adam Driver.
But It Comes at Night, again, not a bad movie by any means.
No.
Kind of thought it was going to be more of a horror movie, and I thought it was really going to be one of the great ones. But turns out the marketing is dog shit for this one.
Oh, yeah. Because I got real, like, Last of Us vibes off of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and I thought, like, the tension and the atmosphere of it all would be really great. And I ended up enjoying it, but I was left a little cold, which sucked.
Yeah.
And then Raw, I don't really know how people feel about it now. like as a grand scheme of things, but anytime you see it mentioned, it's one of those overlooked movies that everyone should see, and like all this stuff. And then when you see it mentioned, like when I saw it mentioned on like Facebook or whatever, people be like, "This movie's so gross, you should watch it." And like people, like I thought, okay, all right, we got like one of those gross ass controversial movies. I'm gonna watch it. But they're saying, but it's kind of an art house flick. And I'm like, okay, cool, like an art house cannibal flick. I'm like, all right.
Art house cannibalism.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll watch this, right? Like, this could be fun. And I didn't like it. But that's why I expected more, because, again, the reception, like It Comes at Night and Raw, both of them were just the reception of it was what really brought me to really want to see. Because I didn't know what Raw was until I looked up maybe under... like overlooked movies, and it was like Raw, and I was like, never heard of that, I'll seek that out. And then when I could find it, I watched it, and I just was left. I just don't see it. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Fair enough.
And now, give me your picks.
I will do so. The 3 movies that I expected more from in 2017 were The Circle, Dunkirk, and Blade Runner 2049. The Circle, it's based off of a novel by Dave Eggers, and Dave Eggers is pretty critically acclaimed. Like, Eggers has won a lot of
Heartbreaking
awards.
Work of Staggering Genius is a fucking good book.
There you go. And so, I mean, like, it kind of comes with certain expectations that, like, oh, this is coming off of, like, a book by Dave Eggers. It must be, like, kind of a really great story. And he's kind of a modern-day savant. Like, he does music, he does filmmaking, he does
where the wild
screenplays.
things are for film.
Exactly, for Spike Jonze. And it's like, and then I think he had written a book, too, that was inspired by Where the Wild, or whatever. Like, just kind of, he's got his toes dipped in everything. So it was like, okay. And it's like, what I expected a movie about this kind of like malevolent dystopian tech company that's kind of like, look at everything is fantastic if you give us 100% unfettered access to every single part of your life. It's this kind of all-encompassing thing, and the cast that's in it, Tom Hanks, Emma Watson, John Boyega, like, you got talented people in this cast. And so I expected the movie to not be poorly performed, poorly written, and just sort of this really derivative. Like, I mean, it's just like everything in that movie you've seen before. And I expected so much more from that movie, and what I got was arguably one of the worst things I saw all year. Dunkirk. I was really excited for Dunkirk. I'm like, yes, a World War II movie directed by Christopher Nolan. Like, okay, I'm in for this. Tom Hardy, I'm in for this. Like, Cillian Murphy, I'm in for this. Like, I had such very high expectations. I know your expectations were significantly less, but like, I'm still down for World War II movies, especially about a story. Like, it has been mined. It's really been mined really heavy. But for a story that really has not yet been given its due justice on film. Again, Nolan's direction, a cast that I really like. I had big expectations. It's a big screen experience that I think was worth seeing on a big screen because of the production that went into it, because it's Christopher Nolan. Technical brilliance. Absolutely. Feels like an incomplete movie and feels like it's not the best version of itself. Like, that movie could have been much better without changing anything, except changing the way the story was presented. Like, damn, that was such like a fairly rare miss for Christopher Nolan. For me, I know you've kind of said in the past, like, Christopher Nolan you feel like is kind of, either you've passed him by or he's passed you by, or you're just sort of two ships in the night.
Yeah, it's just like Interstellar, I'm like, meh, and then this I'm kind of like, meh. But then before that, I had proclaimed him as one of the more consistent directors. Maybe he's just in a spell making movies that I'm not interested in that much, but...
And Blade Runner 2049 was my third one. Another victim of sky-high expectations. I will say, seeing the movie a second time, and I know you did this too, seeing the movie a second time totally helped. Enjoyed it more. Appreciated it more, respected it more after the second viewing. My problem with 2049 is that I expected that movie to make some kind of emotional connection with me, and even after the second viewing, I found that it didn't. I found that it really struggled to do that, despite how technically brilliant it was and how visually brilliant it was. Like Denis Villeneuve is probably now my favorite director. But like and like I was like, okay, they gave Denis Villeneuve this huge movie, and I think he mostly pulled it off, except for the fact that it didn't make an emotional connection with me. And if it doesn't do that, I find it much harder to come to a place where I fully enjoy the movie, even if I can recognize what an accomplishment that movie is. And the final award that we're going to give on this video before heading into the next video, which will come out tomorrow, will be I expected less from these movies. So movies that you walk in, you're expecting like, all right, maybe this will be all right, or this will probably be fine, or even like, I expect to hate this movie. And you kind of walk in and your expectations are exceeded. You might not love the movie, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it was better than you expected that it was going to be. So same deal, I'm just going to give my 3, talk about him a little bit, and then this guy is going to give his 3 and talk about him a little bit, and that's where we'll wrap things up. I expected less from Split, Get Out, and It. So, Split, the very first one. M. Night Shyamalan, I find him to be tremendously inconsistent, especially...
Let me stop you.
Okay, yeah.
He's been straight up bad for a while.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like as a whole, like the whole, like you know, his early, some of his early stuff you can argue is brilliant, and some of his latter stuff is like abject trash, basically. But so I kind of expected like kind of this middling sci-fi thriller that I was like, all right, I see what he tried to do there. But I was like, 50-50. I think like as a director, he's excellent.
Yeah,
when it gets into the writing part of things, is kind of where it's whatever. It's worth pointing out he both wrote and directed this one, so you kind of go into that movie with that in mind. But like I was treated to something that was like, the premise was great, the performances were great, the writing was great, it was thrilling, executed incredibly well, and I love where it's going. Obviously, like I mean, like I said, M. Night drops the mic at the end of that movie, and it's like, oh shit, here we go. We get into Get Out, and you know what? I can very easily say what I thought about Get Out. I thought I was going to hate it. I went into it expecting this movie's going to be garbage. Because heading into it, I didn't trust Jordan Peele further than I could throw him. Because I don't like Key and Peele. I've never found him funny. So I never found either of them funny. This is going to devolve really quickly. It's going to wind up probably being lazy, like, oh, this is how black people really view white people. Oh, no. Like, I almost expected it to be like a Kevin Hart horror movie, like just not really expecting it to be much of anything. And it was tense and interesting, and sure, the bad guys were a little kabuki-ish, but that's okay. That happens in horror movies, especially in the genre of horror. So like I wound up enjoying like a really well-crafted, pretty damn smart movie. And It, even though I kind of went in with higher expectations than I should have had, we'll put it that way, because like we talked about, the marketing campaign for that movie was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going into this with expectations that are too high. This movie's guaranteed to disappoint me at this point. And it didn't. And it was like, wow, this is probably one of the 5 best horror movies I've seen in the last like 5 years. Like just really, really good, really well executed. The imagery was great. Basically, all my expectations for that movie were not only met, but basically exceeded. So I expected less from Split, Get Out, and It.
Yeah, with just quick notes. With Split, like M. Night has been kind of going up since The Visit, which I know was only the Glass movie. But like The Visit had this idea of like, this is kind of funny, but is this funny because he's a bad writer, or is this intentionally funny? Like I enjoyed The Visit. All right, my 3 are The Mummy, Get Out,
Yes,
and Power Rangers.
Oh no! No, I'm kidding.
Because let's see. Okay, I expected less. The Mummy. I'm all for a Tom Cruise action movie and whatever, and I'm gonna say one thing to the haters. This was like in no way marketed as a horror movie.
No.
Like when I watched the trailer, I never thought there's a horror movie. So if you're like going in like it was a shitty horror movie, it's like, well, it wasn't meant to be. Now it should have been, because The Mummy as a horror movie would have been probably a lot of fun if the Dark Universe, now it's dead, but if they would have started that with like a cool horror movie, Dark Universe thing, that would have been neat.
Is the Dark Universe dead officially?
Yeah, I think it's dead.
Okay.
I think it's dead. I'm not sure, but I think it's dead. Let me call somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't hate The Mummy. I thought it was a fun time.
Yep.
And so I expected a lot less. People hate it. You know, whatever. I don't. I just view it as like a fun little Tom Cruise action vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's.
There were a couple of those this year.
Yeah, like I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't hate it, and that's nice. And then Get Out, pretty much the same as this guy. I don't like those two. Don't like Jordan Peele. But
Keegan-Michael Key.
But I know he had nothing to do with it. But still, not a big fan of him. Although he's been in some good movies and whatnot. But I don't love Get Out like a lot of people, because Get Out's getting mad love.
It is.
Mad love. And that's fine. That's completely fine.
Yep.
Because I feel like it's one of those movies that I can like not love but still respect that people love it. It just wasn't necessarily for me. But at the same time, like I didn't give it like an 8 out of 10. So I obviously quite enjoyed it. It was smarter, and comical in a not necessarily even a funny way, just comical. Like they're so extreme that it was good, and it was tense, and it was a good movie. So I didn't expect to like it at all, like you. I expected to hate it because I don't like Jordan Peele.
Right.
But he succeeded. So you know.
And this is two white boys on the internet fully admitting that we expected not to like it and at least enjoyed it. So we were wrong about Jordan Peele.
Yeah, like he might have a good career as like a director now that he's kind of like
I think he could.
Like maybe he'll do interesting things, and that's good. I hope he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Power Rangers, we talked a little bit about. You know, expected it to be shit because of Power Rangers.
Right.
I'm 32. Like
it's true. Yeah.
Like that's just what it is.
I mean, like. The caveat being, we're 32, but we're not adults.
No, we're not adults.
But at the same time,
but we're 32 still.
We're just like, well, I'm 33 now.
Yeah, you're 33.
But I was like, oh man, like, I am an old man. But it's just like, yeah, you know what? This is probably not gonna be good. But maybe I might like it because of nostalgia. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun. But yeah, it was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fine. I really thought that would be one of the movies that came out where it would get horribly received. I don't know how it was received, but it's not in the talks, at least, of like worst movie of the year.
No.
In fact, I see it in some like underappreciated movies. Not that anybody loves it, but
really interesting.
But I just expect it to suck, and that's what the definition of this award is. So.
There you have it, folks. Those are our Miscellaneous Film Awards for 2017. Just as a recap, we went over our best debut characters, or best characters, I suppose, of 2017, the worst film industry argument of 2017, the most nostalgia made this bad movie good movie of 2017. We had Tyler's Bunny of the Year, the movies we can't believe we loved and can't believe we hated, the movies we expected more from, and the movies that we expected less from. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. Come back tomorrow, or if it's, beyond that time, just pop on over to the next video where we're going to get into what we like to call the People Awards of the 2017 Bridgewater's Finest Movie Awards, where we drop time on our best actors, best actresses, and best directors of 2017. See you then. Thank you.